Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Pradeep Hota. So today we will take one real world scenario related to asset acquisition. So we are going to procure one asset through down payment. So that means we are going to purchase the asset externally, that means from vendor. And also we are going to use here logistic module. That means we are going to create the purchase order, but with reference to that purchase order, also we are going to add the down payment. So two things we are going to check here, the down payment process that is related to vendor and how we are going to apply that down payment in our vendor invoice means when we are going to finalize the asset. So end-to-end process we are going to see here. So I will explain the end-to-end process related to asset acquisition with down payment and the business logic, everything I'm going to explain along with the accounting entries. Plus we are also going to see the integrations between FIMM plus FI asset accounting. That integration also we are going to see. Let's take the business example. Now let's say one company that is Maple Computer, they are planning to purchase a new asset and that asset is your industrial machine and its cost is worth is 21,000 INR. Now vendor condition here is vendor required 50% advance means 10,500 they need before delivery. After that, they are going to install that asset in the company premises. So here they are going to deliver the asset, but they need advance 50%. Now this company is going to follow the strict capital asset procedure. So that means whatever the down payment they are going to pay to vendor, they are also going to capitalize that means they are going to transfer this one to the asset, right? So this is our business process or this is the requirement. This type of questions maybe it will be there in your as a scenario question in your interview also, or of course during your project also you will get this type of scenarios when you are going to configure, or maybe sometimes maybe when you are there in the support point of view, the scenarios will be there. It's a very like you can say tricky scenario, and we are going to see the complete. So what are the things we are going to do here? Let's quickly check the steps. So we need to create here two assets. One will be the asset under construction, we can say, because final asset, when finally we are going to make the payment to the vendor, that time we are going to transfer the final asset to the full payment we will transfer, or the full value we are going to transfer to the final asset. So that means here we have to create two asset masters. One asset master we are going to take here as that is our asset under construction, temporary, CWIP, anything you can name it. So basically in end you will find a zero balance in that asset. So that will be our temporary asset, and one asset we are going to take as industrial machine. But that industrial machine, when we are going to settle the value finally, then it is going to update there. Then down payment we need to process, and for that the prerequisite is you should have the related accounts payable. Special GL configuration has to be there. So we are going to process the down payment. So you know that our transaction code is F-48. Then we are going to create one purchase order. Then we are going to, and in that purchase order, we are going to add the down payment conditions too. Then we are going to process down payment, and we are going to process the goods receipt MIGO. Then we are going to process the invoice, and finally we are going to clear the down payment, because whatever amount we paid already vendor, that we need to cancel, that need to be settled with your against your invoice. Then final amount you are going to make the payment through F-53 or F110. These are the steps. Now it is very important you have to understand all the accountings which are involved here, because many things we are going to do here. So this is FI integrations will be applicable here. Asset and GL integration will be there, because we know that asset is our subledger. So that integration will be also there, because simultaneously when we are going to post various type of transactions, our two books of accounts need to be updated. One is your vendor books and another one is your asset books, because we are going to report two things. So it is a combination of your P2P and R2R, particularly the asset management. So that should be there. So let's check the first accounting entry, then we will check in the system. So the workflow will be when we are going to make the payment for the vendor, when we are going to purchase the asset, not purchase the asset, when we are going to create the PO, and against that PO, when we are going to make the payment to the vendor. So we know the accounting entry, vendor is going to debit and bank is going to credit. We know that the reconciliation account related to vendor, it will be accounts payable, but in this case it is vendor advance. We are paying before getting anything, we are paying to the vendor. So that's why it will be our special GL transaction, or it will be here we are going to use alternate reconciliation account. So after these transactions, if you are going to prepare balance sheet, then you don't have to show anything against your accounts payable. So if we have paid 50%, that is 10,500, so that 10,500 is not your accounts payable, rather that is our vendor advance. So that vendor advance GL has to be updated the moment we are going to process F-48 entry. So vendor is going to debit, and simultaneously vendor advance, the entry should be updated, or that GL should be updated. So we will check vendor entry as well as we are also going to check the GL entry. Then bank is of course going to be credited. Simultaneously, this second entry is also going to be updated because it is related. Because as I said, company policies, anything they are going to make the capital expenditure or anything they are going to pay towards asset procurement, that need to be also capitalized. So at this stage, we don't have any asset. We have not received any asset, but we paid against the asset purchase. So that is why here we are going to use this GL account, asset advance. I named this one as asset advance. You can take here CWIP, anything you can take here. So asset advance is going to be debit 10,500. Now this one is also reconciliation account. This reconciliation is for your subledger, because here we are going to use one asset also. Let's say your asset under construction, and for that this reconciliation account will be used. So when I'm going to check GL report, I will get two things. I will get one update against your vendor advance, that is the reconciliation account for vendor. Vendor is your subledger, and second reconciliation account also going to be updated 10,500, that is related to asset, because subledger and ledger reconciliation has to be there automated. And the clearing entry will be down payment clearing account. No one is going to post any transaction here in the system when the user is going to make the payment to the vendor through F-48. Because of our configuration and all, this accounting entry has to be there, so that it is going to update in FBL1N, means in your vendor line items, plus we are going to check this one also in our GL entry. So we will check it. So at this stage, no asset master is involved here, means asset master means final asset is not involved here. Then next one will be, let me completely explain all these accounting entries, then we will go to the SAP system. Then next one will be the vendor invoice. Okay, so in between, let's say goods received processed, and we are not going to post any valuated GR. So we will go for non-valuated GR, and we are going to capitalize the asset once we are going to have the asset, or we are going to post the vendor invoice. So with reference to MIRO, so we know that this time what will be the accounting entry? So vendor is going to credit and debit should be asset. But at this stage, we are not going to debit the asset again, because we have to reconciliation between GL and asset will be there. So in S/4HANA, we are using technical clearing account, and technical clearing account, again, another reconciliation account will be there. If you have configured as external asset procurement, I'm sure you must have idea about the technical clearing account. So this account is going to be debit. This is replacement of your, you can say, APC account. It was not there in the ECC. So technical clearing account is going to debit, and vendor is going to credit. This time your accounts payable is going to credit. So accounts payable is going to credit 21,000, and vendor advance is debited with 10,500. So what is the net payable? Net payable is 21,000 minus whatever already we paid, that is 10,500. And simultaneously, you are going to see the asset entry, that is AUC account is going to debit and technical clearing account going to credit. So this is your accounting entry at the time of vendor invoice. Then finally, we are going to settle the amount whatever we paid to the vendor. Otherwise, if you check your payable balance, it will show that 21,000, because we are crediting the vendor here 21,000. Sorry, vendor credit is going to be 21,000, but already we paid 10,500. So that need to be cleared. The down payment, whatever we paid, that need to be cleared against our vendor. So down payment should be clear. If that's 54 entry need to be posted. So after this processing, you will, but against that particular invoice. So accounts payable is going to debit, and vendor advance is going to credit. So earlier vendor advance having the debit entry, now it will be credited here. So this balance is zero, and down payment clearing account, asset advance, that time it was debited, asset advance was debited, that also going to be cleared, because final value we are going to transfer to the asset. So asset advance is going to be credit, and clearing account is going to be debit. Then finally, vendor to bank payment will be there. With this, the payment and vendor related transactions are completed. But still, asset not transferred fully to the main asset, that is our industrial machine. Right now, the asset we have transferred to the asset under construction. So from asset under construction, in period end, the value need to be transferred to the main asset, means to your machine. So that's why the end will be there. That is your final balance settlement to the main asset. So final asset is going to be debit, and this balance will be a zero balance. So this is the entire process will be there. with in this particular business acquisition, business transactions or asset acquisition. So I hope you got some clarity on this. Now let's try in the system, or we will do the system demonstration so that you will get more clarity. And once again, while posting the transaction, I will revisit these accounting entries also. Step one, first we will create asset master. So I have to create two assets. Transaction code is 01 asset creation, and here asset class. So one asset I will create as asset under construction, and you must have the asset class should be there. So I'm going to use here asset class as 8003. Again, nothing I'm using here system delivered. This is I created, and it is all the configuration which I'm using. I mean, for this scenario, the configuration what I'm using, that is related to my live batch, whatever I already configured. So I'm going to create one asset under construction, or temporary asset, anything you can take name here. So I will take this one as AUC, asset under construction, for our industrial machine. This is not our final asset. So in end, this asset balance will be 0. So temporarily, we are just going to create one asset master. Here, no need to update any cost center, no need to update any depreciation area, nothing, because it should be updated with 0 depreciation key. So created. So asset created. So asset number 2002. So initially, we are going to use this asset 2002 while creating the purchase order. I need to create one more asset, and this is your actual asset. I will use here asset class 8001, and this will be our industrial machine. In this case, department is important because here we are going to calculate the depreciation, and that depreciation should be transferred to your cost of production calculation. So here cost center is important. Okay, again, for calculation of depreciation areas, we need to be maintained. So this depreciation area depends how many, in your chart of depreciation, how many depreciation areas and all you have configured. So in here, I have configured two depreciation areas. That is because of parallel valuations. So let me take your life of the asset is, suppose, let's say 10 years, and I will take my calculation date will be depreciation start date. So I'm not maintaining any depreciation start date here. Continue. So we have created two asset number 20002, that is one asset, and another asset number 1002. So the final balance you will see against this asset number 1002 in end, because initially we are going to use 20002 asset. Done. Next step is we are going to create the purchase order, and while creating the purchase order, I will add that 50% condition that is related to down payment, because that one is important, because down payment condition, if we will not add, then scenario will be a different scenario. So we are going to create a purchase order in the system. Now the logistic team, or the person who is handling the purchase order and all, that person is going to create the purchase order. So I'm going to create the purchase order here. ME21N. So I have selected here the supplier, then other details like header details I will maintain. So I will maintain here the purchase organization I will maintain Z200, purchase group I will maintain company code I'm using here Z200, then other details like we need to update here account assignment because we are purchasing asset. So account assignment should be A. Okay, and we need to update the material also, material 3. So one quantity we are going to purchase, and expected delivery date. So when you will expect that delivery date also, you can maintain when vendor is going to deliver the item. Okay, so price, as per our example, the price we will take as uh, against the condition type. So material group, leave it, automatically it will come. I will update the plant, and I will update the storage location. Okay, so here then we need to specify that what asset we are going to use here. So for that, in account assignment, we will not update the final asset here. My final asset is 10002, but I will not use that one because initially we are going to generate one value against the advance amount, and that asset we use here 2002, which I have created just now. That is asset under construction against your industrial machine. Updated. Then I need to put here the advance informations. So here I have selected that how much down payment you are expecting. So as per the supplier instruction, down payment should be 50%. So automatically the value will come here, but I have not updated the conditions yet or the amount. So, okay, expected down date. Expected down payment date. I have selected today's date, and it's not 2100, rather we will take 21,000 as per our example. So total payable balance will be 21,000. And what is the down payment here? We supposed to make the payment to the supplier. So 50%, that is 10,500. Right. So everything is good. And two things here you need to keep in mind when you are going to update your account assignment. Just specify which asset. If you think like, let's say in your business, you are not going to use any AUC because it is a normal process. But let's say business is saying that we will not use AUC here. We are going to take the final asset. So you can use here 10002 asset, but normal process as asset not received. So we should not update the final asset here. Rather, we should use the asset under construction. So I have updated here asset under construction, and advance amount also has to be there. So everything is good. Now save it. So next step, we are going to process the down payment F-48. Now I am the finance user and I'm going to process the down payment against that purchase order. So F-48, down payment against asset. Okay, so specify your supplier, indicator, special GL indicator, that is asset, I mean A. Then your house bank configuration also mandatory for payment. So that also has to be there. Then GL account related to bank as per the payment method. So I will use here ACH. So 1003. And what is the amount? 50%, 10,500. Okay. And clearing date, value date. Continue. Here we have to specify the purchase order because in PO we have the advance information is there. So you need to update here the purchase order information, and that's why I have noted this purchase order. So this one I will use in my payment, down payment. Done. No, asset informations, it will come automatically. So here purchase order informations will be there against your line item. And automatically you can see asset value is going to be updated, 2002 updated. So done. Now with this, you will expect one accounting document. So 15011 document generated, and where we can see this value, if we will check the asset explorer, because already we paid something to the supplier. So you can see this value 10,500 updated, but this is not your final asset. So that's why this acquisition value, although it is updated, but it is not your final asset. So that's why no depreciation, nothing is there. Now this information also going to be updated in the our books of account. So we are going to check now. First, I will check the supplier report, FBL1N. So in supplier report or in supplier book, I'm going to select here the supplier. So this is my supplier, and I will select today's date so that any old transaction will not be there. It will be easy for you to understand. Okay, and this is not a normal transaction, so it is special GL transaction. Now this is your supplier details. This is your supplier details. That means supplier is debited. Normally supplier should be credited, but in this case it is vendor is debited because we paid advance to the vendor. So accounting entry, vendor is debit and bank is credit. This is related to this accounting entry, vendor debited, bank credited. Plus simultaneously we need to see the reconciliation accounts too. So I'm going to check the GL report, FAGL L03. So we need to check here vendor advance. Vendor advance should be updated and asset advance should be updated. This is the reconciliation data for two sub-ledgers. So 10,500 here updated, vendor advance, and 10,500 updated against your down payment related asset. So this data will be part of balance sheet. This is part of a balance sheet, and it is updated against your GL. So this is our step number 2. So we have, step number 3. So we have created the purchase order. We have also processed the vendor advance. And now we have checked the books of accounts. All this reconciliation data updated means reconciliation GL updated, and subledger data also updated. So we check the asset explorer. So we check the asset explorer. We check the supplier details, and we check the reconciliation data. Next process is, or next activity we are going to process the goods receipt. MIGO will be there because supplier is going to, as per the condition, supplier once get the 50% payment, they are going to install it. So next I'm going to process the MIGO goods receipt. Again, another logistic transactions, MIGO, but this time just we are going to process MIGO without having any accounting entry because I configured non-valuated GR. So with reference to that purchase order, so all good. Now we can post it. This is our step number 4. Step number 5 will be invoice. So for as we have received the asset or installation completed, now we are going to process the invoice again in logistic, and with reference to we are going to get the invoice for the further activities. So I'm going to process the MIRO. So with reference to that purchase order, I'm going to process it. Tax also will be there as per my configuration. Although in my example tax point was not there, but in this settings tax configuration is already there, so I have to include that one. And I'm going to adopt the informations related to purchase order. So base amount is 21,000 on that as per my tax configuration. So payable amount 1270.50 tax calculated. So payable amount is 22,270.50. Okay, and I'm getting here the alert that already we paid to the supplier 10,500. Okay, and you can see here the down payment informations. Okay, something is missing, baseline date is missing. So 10,500 already paid to the supplier that need to be cleared. Post it. Now with this, the accounting entry is again, vendor is going to credit and debit will be the technical clearing account. We will check it, but first let's check the books of account. So refresh. This is our asset data. So now asset you can see updated with 31,500 because that clearing is not completed. So that 10,500 also capitalized and 21,000 also capitalized. So that's why it is updated with 31,500. Then coming to your supplier data. So 22,270, this is your payable, right? And now the GL also should be updated. Now vendor advance 10,500 debit. One credit entry should be there for this payable balance. So that need to be also included. Because for that invoice amount that need to be credited to the supplier, which is nothing but your accounts payable. Accounts payable. So in our books of account, we have capitalized, we have vendor invoice, that is reconciliation data updated 22,270.50. Whatever advance paid to the vendor, that is also showing a debit balance 10,500, and 10,000 is showing against your asset. Now, one clearing is required. because as said, the books of accounts, since at this moment it is not balanced, so whatever amount we paid to the vendor already, 10,500, that need to be settled against the vendor invoice, or we are going to clear the down payment. Otherwise it will show that payable balance is the full amount, that is 22,2750. So next step, we have to clear the down payment. So F dash 54. Again, accounts payable team is going to clear that advance. Advance clear. Specify the supplier. Supplier number 10,000. Okay, and against which invoice we are going to clear? So this is our invoice number, that is 51. This one, this is your advance. We are going to clear against this invoice. So it is 51010. 51010. So this one we need to clear. Now with this, you will find that whatever advance paid to the vendor, that will be nullified. Now you will not find any, like vendor balance is showing whatever balance it's showing 11,770, but this item is still is showing in the open mode. It should be cleared. So I'm going to refresh this one. Okay, so it's cleared. That 10,500 transferred. So we need to clear this one. Advance clear is required, but balance you can see 11,770. So this item need to be clear. We'll do that, and accordingly your accounts payable is showing how much, 2270. So that also check. Okay, so this balance is also adjusted here. So how much is payable? Payable balance is 11,77050. And vendor advance, whichever earlier it was there as debit balance with our previous transaction, now it is settled. So this balance is 0. Down payment asset, earlier it was debit balance, that is also cleared. Okay, so now what is your asset value, net as final asset value? So the asset value is 21,000. So that means finally we have whatever we have paid to the vendor, that we have capitalized. But again, this is not your final asset. This value need to be transferred to your final asset, that is our industrial machine, because here you can see depreciation and all, nothing is there. So temporarily we have generated this asset, because just for demonstration purpose, immediately I posted the transaction. But in real case, when machineries will be imported, so it will take some time. Maybe it will take 15 to 1 month. So different transactions will be there. Supplier is going to get in multiple payments in multiple advance. So that's why temporarily we are generating one asset to capitalize our cost. So next, payable, we know that payment one, F dash 53. So I will do that. Before that, let me settle this balance, because this 21,000 which is there in your AUC, from AUC I need to transfer to the final asset. That means asset number 1002 should be updated. So which is AIAP. Now the asset team is going to finally capitalize the value to the final asset. So right now the balance is there with 2002. So from 2002 in period end, we are going to transfer to the final asset. Okay. So here multiple lines are there because of multiple accounting principles. So let me add here the accounting principle, because I have configured here the parallel accounting too. So I need to transfer all these values to the final asset. Select, go to enter. Okay, so where I will transfer the value? I will transfer the value to the asset, and that is asset number 1002. How much value? 100% or full amount. You can take percentage or amount as per your convenient, which rule. I have configured here two rules, so that's why anything is fine. So first line completed, and it should be turned into green. Same way I need to transfer all items. 1002. Second line means that advance that also we are settling, because every transaction should be transferred to the final asset. That is the concept. Final asset, main asset, anything you can name it. Two more lines left that also need to be added. So all are green. Now save the rule and settle. So always it should be period and date. So with test run, let's execute. Make sure that there should not be any error in the settlement process. This is one of your period end activity, this step. Okay, so for both the depreciation area and which is linked with two ledgers, leading as well as non-leading ledger, so I am capitalizing 100% value, 21,000. Remove test run, execute. Okay, now after this, you will find this balance should be zero, means this asset job over. So it should be deactivated. We don't need this one. And all value we have transferred to our asset number 1002. Okay, so this value is updated and this is our proposed depreciation, and rest you know already that this is my periodical depreciation. So third period depreciation is not posted. So that's why it is planned depreciation, and we capitalize the asset. So 1 day depreciation is showing because last day we capitalize as per our book depreciation and as per our tax depreciation. So this is the entire process how we are going to acquire the asset with reference to down payment. So it is asset acquired integrated with MM, plus here also I have added the down payment part. So this is a very, very important area. When interview, sometimes questions will be there. So all these things are done. Now finally we have only one thing is pending, although it is not related to this payment. That is sorry, this is related to asset acquisition, but we have this payable is there. So let's make the payment, then it will be end of the process. F-53. So the net amount we are going to pay to the supplier. Bank, then I mean house bank information, account. Let's say I don't know the amount. We will check in the system. Okay, so just ignore this line. It is not related to our current scenario. So how much is payable? 22,270.50 is your invoice. Out of that, already we paid 10,500 advance, and it's already cleared also. So net payable is 11,770.50. So this is your net payable. Okay, so we are going to change this amount and we will make the payment. Now you can see everything turned into green because all items are done. So here, like we first paid the advance, that we capitalized, and that we capitalized means we transfer to the asset, and finally we generated the invoice, and that also we make the payment. So it is my subledger data and means supplier data, and this is your GL data. So everything should be turned into green. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you got some clarity about this process. If you have any questions, feel free to mail me or add in the comments. Definitely, I will answer that one. And if you have any questions related to or anything you are facing the problem, feel free to mail me. See you soon in another scenario. Thank you.